Oh man, Anna, I can't wait to see the new Beauty and the Beast film on my birthday tomorrow. I'm so pumped! Ugh!
Wait, it's your birthday too?
Small world, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that great.
What are you talking about? Have you seen the way Disney is promoting it? Sure, it won't be as great as the original, but I feel like this would be a great love letter to the animated classic. Unlike Maleficent.
Get out of my face!
Don't get me started on live-action remakes. And what do you mean? What was wrong with Maleficent?
Don't get me started.
Well, see you tomorrow. Have fun.
Oh, I'm sure I will. Hopefully the same goes to you as well. Maybe.
Don't get your hopes up.
Wow.
I don't believe it. That was surprisingly good.
Are you kidding me? More like surprisingly awful. Okay, it's not as awful as Maleficent, but it's up there as one of the worst of these remakes.
I really don't see what you're talking about. The movie definitely has its flaws, but it's actually my favourite of the live-action trend that's been happening so far.
Well then, this should be lots of fun to review then.
Right, if we're doing this, we better be dressed for the part.
What the? How do we? Oh yeah, Disney magic.
They're sweet and strange, finding you can change.
It's a tale as old as time. Well, in Disney's case, 1991. The story of an unlikely romance between a beauty and a beast.
What needs to be said that hasn't been said before? Out of all the Disney animated films, this is one of the all-time classics. Not only were the characters great, the songs are very memorable, and the story is phenomenal, but what I really like best about the film is the animation. This, along with Disney's Pinocchio and Fantasia, are films that makes me really appreciate hand-drawn films more than computer animated and stop motion. The frame-by-frame technique are so amazing that you actually believe that these characters are alive. My personal favorite moment would most definitely be the infamous ballroom scene. The way that they use the camera angle, the great use of early CGI, and with each frame of Belle and the Beast is what legends are made of when it comes to animation. I could easily watch that scene over and over again just how beautiful that moment was. That's how awesome this animation is.
I absolutely adored the original as well. It was without a doubt my favourite movie as a child, and it's something I can still admire and love as an adult. With stellar performances from the beastly Robbie Benson and the Judy Garland-esque Paige O'Hara, as well as great supporting roles in Gaston, Lumiere, Cogsworth and Mrs. Potts, it was definitely something that inspired me to do voiceover myself. Not to mention the beautiful score and songs composed by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman. They're more than memorable. They're timeless. It's not a surprise that it won the 1992 Oscars for Best Score, Best Song for the title track Beauty and the Beast, and deservingly, it was the first animated film in history to be nominated for Best Picture.
And here are the nominees for the Best Picture. Beauty and the Beast, Don Hahn producer.
And let's not forget about the Broadway show that was released 3 years after. It won a Tony Award for Best Costume Design and was also nominated for Best Musical. Sure, it's basically the animated film live on stage, but they did add in elements to the show that it can stand out on its own, like adding in new plot elements that are very well executed, and especially new songs like Home, Me, and my personal favorite, If I Can't Love Her. It will go on until 2007 and will remain as one of the best Broadway shows ever next to The Phantom of the Opera, Les Miserables, Wicked, and other Disney Broadway shows like The Lion King. So with that said, what went wrong with this remake?
Hey, it wasn't that bad.
Well, okay. I will admit, there are some few things I like about this version. For example, I really enjoy the rendition of both Gaston and especially Be Our Guest. Whether it's the choreography in Gaston or the colors and imagery in Be Our Guest, both did a really great job standing out more from their original counterparts plus the Broadway version. Speaking of which, I also like how they borrowed elements from the stage production show, like making the wardrobe an opera singer, the enchanted objects slowly turning inanimate as each petal drops, and at one point they played the instrumental score of the song Home during the film. Not gonna lie, that part made me squeal in the inside.
What did you think of the Best Original Song Oscar grabs? New songs.
Personally, I really enjoyed How Does a Moment Last Forever and Evermore, but only if they're performed by Celine Dion and Josh Groban. Though, to be fair, they're nice little additions within the film itself when not focusing on the terrible singing from the characters, which we'll go into much more detail later on.
And what about Days in the Sun?
Days in the what now?
Never mind.
Another thing I like about it is Chip, the only character I find most enjoyment out of the film, and that's really sad to say. Anyways, I like what they did with him by not only staying true to his animated counterpart, knowing Disney, they need to insert 1 or 2 cute characters in each of their animated films, but also have him skateboard around the castle with his little plate. Even if, yeah, skateboard was not really a thing in 17th century France, but still cool nonetheless. I'll take that over Mad Hatter's dance any day.
Oh no, not the Futterwacken. Anyway, back to the remake. It was dazzling visually, albeit with some weird moments of CGI.
Beast!
But my favourite thing has got to be the dialogue. It's snappy, it's funny, it's to the point, and it shows, not tells. To Maurice being presented with the right tool by Belle before he's even asked for it, to Gaston's presentation of flowers to Belle. Flowers for your dinner table. Shall I join you tonight? To the line on the balcony, following the ballroom scene. Do you think you could be happy here? Can anybody truly be happy if they're not free? It's clever and it keeps you on your toes. I also like the effort made in answering the questions the original didn't. For example, what happened to Belle's mother? Why is the beast so horrible to the limit that he was cursed? How old was he when he was cursed? Were all the objects in the castle once human? Is everything in here alive? Hello?
That, my dear, is a hairbrush.
And as for the additional elements added to the plot, who knew that some more depth in Maurice's character, seeing him more as a father than a caricature of a mad scientist, would add so much to the story? Him losing Belle to the Beast is so much more significant and painful for us as an audience, because we have seen and are invested in their relationship as father and daughter. Not to mention, the fact that there is no real reason for him to be seen as anything more than a little dopey occasionally, unlike the original, highlights the townspeople's ignorance to difference when they label him a madman, and their sheep mentality, which Gaston takes advantage of. Speaking of Gaston, I loved his portrayal in this. Luke Evans gravitated with ease between being campy and being terrifying, all while being pitch perfect. There was a lot more emphasis on his brutal nature here, presented through subtle lyric additions in the songs and, well, more unsubtle scenes like leaving Maurice tied to a tree in the woods to die. Can we take a moment to appreciate that? Oh, cinematic gold!
Okay, that was my personal favorite scene. But still, can I go now and drink my sorrows away?
Alright, fine. What didn't you like?
Where do I even start with this mess? I know, the story. Imagine watching the animated film, but take out the heart and magic from it. It's literally an 85% shot-to-shot remake of the animated film, but done much worse. Not in the sense that it makes me mad, but it just puts me to sleep just how dull the whole experience is. True, they added in new things to the film, but for the most part they're not really needed. Belle being an adventurer doesn't add much, the piano was a pointless new character, the backstory of the beast should have been interesting, but it was just glanced over for like, what, a minute and it's never brought up again? And that stupid teleporting book, also the pacing. I did not buy any of the character connections due to how terrible everything is played out. What do I mean by this? Well, remember in the animated film where Belle notices that her father is out in the cold getting weaker with each new step he takes? The beast sees that she's in desperate need to go out to rescue him. He looks at the rose with a concerned look on his face, and then decides to let her go. Belle questions his decision, and proceeds to thank him before taking off. That scene still puts me in tears because the beast is sacrificing from being human again because of his love of Belle. With the remake, however, it plays like this.
Oh no, my father.
Go to him, Belle.
What?
Take the mirror so you'll remember me by.
Okay.
Now I know she'll never leave me, even as she fades from view. Not once do I feel anything from that scene. I mean, that's basically the whole movie. It baffles me how they managed to screw up as a film as beloved like the original. I know I keep making these comparisons, but the remake is trying to be like the animated film, that there's no way I can see this as its own thing like the previous Disney remakes.
Okay, I do have to agree with you on some of those points.
Ha! Told you it was a bad film.
But I think we have yet to talk about the biggest flaws the movie had.